Alright. Is that working? God, I hope so. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. Alright, I mean, that looks like... Oh, no, that's not working. Let's see, that's definitely too far of a zoom, but you know what? That's fine. Only I had a better way of doing that. But I simply do not! Why isn't it saying that I'm live? That's a concern to me. Because I pressed the button. I pressed the button that says go. Oh, wait, no, there it is. There we go. Alright, okay. Let's see. Unmute, times muted, there we go. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see. That's there, that's there. I do this and go right. Okay, that moves in real time. That's what I want to see. Alright. Let's see. Some might say that this is some might say that this is an unprofessional way to start a stream. But I am simply left with no choice. Because all I have to do this with is a telephone. And that is unideal. But you know what? I can't afford big expensive cameras. So this is where I'm at. The zoom is like completely different on my phone on the actual stream output. Like that's... It is way less zoomed in on stream. Okay, so if that's like that, and if I hold that up like that, is that going to be in focus? Okay, that's kind of a good level of zoom there. We'll just crank up that light. How am I going to do that? Plus, plus, plus. Alright, that's better. Put the light more up like that. Now, I did say I was going live at 12, and so it's not 12 yet. So you can't yell at me for not being fully prepared. This is how I test. Okay. So move the light a little bit more down there. Let's see. How is that looking? Debugging in real time. That's what we want. That's what we love to see. The height of professionalism. Okay, now I'll move some of these guys. I'll move some of these guys over here so they're more in the background. Okay. It's set dressing, you know what I mean? Okay, that's there, that's there. Alright, so if I hold him up like this... It, I should say. Now, there's a guy in there. He's permitted to have he, him pronouns. There's a living thing in here, I think. Okay. Alright, so that's like that. So I can now post this. One day I'll have a proper stream setup. One day. Someday in the near future. But it is not this day. Currently, all I have is a Google Pixel telephone, 2 ring lights, one of which is powered by batteries and will definitely go down at some point during this stream because it's only at 50%, and a sense of my own gumption. It's okay. I'm zoomed in a little bit, but that's fine. That's fine. There's a lot of little details to get through. Okay. Alright, now, to recap, what am I trying to do today? I am trying to finish off the painting of my Orcs Combat Patrol. As I'm sure some of you have seen on socialmedia.org, some of the models are already done. Well, for the most part, at the very least. You can see most of the boys are in a state where I would probably call that, you know, battle, if not parade ready by my standards. But a lot of them still have things like, you know, basing and, like, dry brushing and fine little details that I just need to get to. So that's going to be what I'm spending my time on today. Let's see, I've got my palette here, I've got my water here, my brushes are all fucking over the place. My paints are scattered on my bed behind me. That's not where they should be, ideally, but that's where they are. And that's what I'm going to have to live with. So one of the things that I know I still need to work on, most of all, is I need to get the shade paints for the Death Dread sorted out. So, let's see, what do I need for him? That's right. I've set a couple of precedents with my paints already. it's mostly been a very like rusty brown sort of color scheme that I'm going for. You can most famously see in the war boss with mega armor here, which I'm absolutely not holding in frame, but that's on me. So I'm sort of going for like a really dark, rusty Rhinox hide sort of like base coat amongst all of the metal with these kind of like yellow highlights or like yellow patches of armor. So that's really what I've been going for the most part here. And yeah, which is definitely translated over into the Deft Red here. You know, it's mostly rusty brown. It's got like a little bit of like yellow highlights here across his teeth. I might... It's a little difficult to see, but I might actually go through and put another shade of yellow on that little like banner up there, which again I'm not holding in frame. Yeah, because you can kind of see some like undercoat black scratches underneath it. So that might just need one extra coat of paint, which maybe I'll do now, just to start off. Let's see, what do I need? Avalanche Sunset, that's the color that I need. Kaboom. And I'll also need my trusty... Where is it? There we go. My Lamian Medium, which is 90% gone, because I spilled it all over myself. In an absolutely wonderful display of coordination. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to shake it up. I'm also starting with a like brand new fresh paint palette because my other one was filthy. Like, it was just a mess of browns and yellows and greens, and like there was no space for anything on it. So I've started fresh. And immediately I've lost where I put the medium down. So I'm just going to spread that all around the palette here in a way that you cannot see because I'm blocking it with the model, but that's fine. I want to really like thin this down because I've already got like a couple of coats of yellow on the little war banner up here. So really I'm just going over this again. Trying not to get any bubbles in the eyes because then that'll change the overall shape. There we go. There we go. That's what we love to see. You're not a proper miniature painter until you donate. Yes, that is very true. Well, thankfully, I've never actually donated a whole pot of something onto my work surface, unless you count my jeans, because that's usually where the spillages end up. Most famously, it's this pot of Lamian Medium here, which, as we can see, is like mostly gone. I've only got a little bit on there, right at the very bottom, because most of it fell onto my pant leg and became really sticky, and it was a pain in the ass to wash. I had a miniature spillage of one of my Nuln oil pots a while back, and I know that's kind of like, you know, the Warhammer meme or what have you, but what was extra upsetting was that this wasn't just any Nuln oil. It was Nuln oil gloss, which is a discontinued shade paint variant. So I was very upset because I couldn't just go buy a new one, and I had to make do with what I have because you physically cannot buy it anymore. And I only bought it because I saw it on sale at a local game store, Googled it, saw that it was discontinued, and I picked it up. Now, it has come to my attention that it has been discontinued because it wasn't that good, but I still found a bit of use for it. So that's good for me. You don't sound like I thought you would. That is interesting, because my voice is very well documented on the internet.com. I mean, even though it's a bit of a stage voice I do in TikToks and stuff like that, but no, this is just how I sound. The one thing I think most people don't get about me and my voice is that when I talk in real life, I stammer a lot. I stutter a lot, and that's, you know, something that I can obviously very easily edit out of a lot of the videos and, like, you know, TikToks and Reels that I make. But when I'm just shooting off the cuff or like live streaming or something, literally I'll have to stop myself mid-sentence like 8 times just to get a single coherent thought out. Follow me on Threads because you like my fashion? Thank you! I very much appreciate it. And I'm glad that Threads is good for something. You know, a lot of people are being like, what the fuck do you use Threads? Like, it's just... Is that fucking, like, Instagram, Twitter that didn't go anywhere? People use it. People use it. Or so I'm told. Yes, that's so right, YouTube user curse Skull Stomper. Wog, indeed. I just absolutely kicked my tripod here, and that's definitely not what I want to do, but you know what? That's fine. I need to, like, push my, like, fucking... I need to fucking, like, push my ginger ale cup into shot every time I drink from it, because otherwise I'm just going to be, like, completely silent for, like, 4 seconds at a time. I stutter too? Hell yeah! Stutter gang, rise up! Aw. Yeah, it's tough. Like, I feel like I didn't used to... Like, I feel like there was a period of my life where I didn't, like, stutter that much. But then again, that was probably a period of my life where I didn't actually talk that much either, so I probably didn't have the chance to do it. I was a quiet kid growing up, contrary to popular belief. Where'd it go? What brush am I looking for? I think it's behind me. But yeah, I was a quiet kid growing up, so I didn't, like, talk all that much. So maybe I developed a stuttering later in life. Maybe I didn't. Who's to say? But yeah, it can be a little bit, it is hard, you know, because you're trying to, you know, we want to talk to people. We want to communicate. And when you stutter and stammer, sometimes it, like, it feels like it gets in the way of that. Interestingly enough, I, like, you know, I work a big boy office job in my IRL life, where I, like, talk to clients a lot and things like that. And for some reason, I can talk fine there. Like, if I'm talking, like, a business context, or I'm doing, like, an interview, I can form cogent, coherent sentences, like, out the wazoo. Like, I'm fine with that. But when it comes to, like, interacting with, you know, real people who exist in the real world, or, like, you know, communicating online in things that I'm interested in, or passionate about, or, like, actively, you know, choosing my words for myself, and not just choosing them in a way that continues to earn me money, then I'm just a fucking mess, you know? So for every video you see of me online, just know that I film it like 4 separate times. Do you have any tips on painting skin? Well, that's a very interesting question. I haven't actually painted too much skin. I mean, I painted orc flesh, like you can, you know, sort of see in the background here. All these guys and everything like that. And I painted, like, I've just got into painting skin on some of my Marines. Like, when I first started painting the Space Marines of the Leviathan set, let's see, is that in frame? Yeah, it's good enough. When I first started getting into the Space Marines of the Leviathan set, and I also got some Assault Intercessors before that, I put them all in helmets, because I was too afraid to paint skin. But then eventually I bit the bullet, and I created some skinned models, or helmetless models, if you will. And from what I've learned so far, I find that the best thing to do is to, you know, go for a very light base, you know, paint light, and then let your shade paints do most of the work. So, hold on, I'll just, I just need to put a little bit of a copper tint on some of this metal here, because I forgot to do that. So once I've done that, I can give you an example. Let's see, I just want to get... They realize there's these, what do you call them, exhaust pipes up here, smokestacks. that I've just sort of like weirdly left unpainted. So I just want to give them a bit of a copper color. So yeah, I'll give you an example of like skin of how I sort of go about painting skin after I've done this, or after my paints have run dry, whichever comes first. When I talk to my friends that are really excited, when I'm talking to strangers, yeah, it's a hard thing. Like it definitely sort of like comes and goes. I find I find that my stutter really comes out when I'm streaming or like, going live on Instagram or TikTok or anything like that. Because like I'm talking, but I'm also not talking to a person. Like nobody's physically in the room with me. And like sometimes I can get into a bit of a groove where I can, you know, um, get something good out of it. But sometimes it's difficult because nobody is physically in the room with me. In terms of the paints that I am using, I am just using the classic, tried and tested Citadel paints. I don't know. Like I know. Like the paint, I know like whatever paints you use is very like. There's a lot of contention around it. Like some people swear by Citadel, some people don't, for lack of a better term. But for me, I generally just stick with the classic Citadel range. Because like uh, a lot of the like official Warhammer tutorials that I tend to use, they all use Citadel paints, and so if you're trying to follow along, it's it's easier to follow along if you're using the same tools and gear. You know what I mean? And this is like a very fine detail that I'm painting, so it's probably not super visible, but it's visible to me. Also, I like the naming conventions of all the Citadel paints. Like they're all references to the world and lore that you enjoy. Like I've seen Army Painter paints, and apparently like their new range is really good or something like that. But it's all like skeleton bone. It's all like, ocean blue. Whereas Citadel, it's like Macragge blue. Or like Beal tan green. Green is best. We love green in this house. That's one of the reasons why I enjoy painting the orcs. Like I painted a lot of ultramarines, which are blue. And I feel like it's a good, like it's a fun color. It's fun to paint something bright and colorful, Oh, I'm just gonna take a quick drink there. Let's see, would Citadel work on the Marvel Legends and Black series? I think so. Because, like, Citadel paints are, they're just acrylic paints, basically. Or, like, they're acrylic paints that are, like, designed to work on plastic models. You know what I mean? So, as long as the models that you're working on are, made of plastic or even resin, because, Games Workshop also does resin models as well. So as long as they're, plastic models, like they should work fine. Like the tools that they use and the techniques that you use are fairly similar no matter what you're painting. Like whether it's Warhammer, whether it's like a third-party game, whether it's like I know a lot of people like painting the Marvel Legends figurines and stuff like that. So it's relatively indistinguishable when it comes down to what do you call it? Yeah, like it's just paint. You know what I mean? Like you can use any brand, any sort of color. I would say there are lots of different brands of paint that you can use, and one thing about Citadel is that it is a little bit more expensive than most paints because it is like the official Warhammer paint. And one of the reasons why I feel like it's so expensive is because it is ubiquitous with Warhammer. Like if you buy a box of Citadel paints, like you know that it's going to be like the right color combination for the Warhammer models you want. Like if you look up like a Space Marine painting tutorial, like they're going to say like, break out your pot of Macragge blue sort of thing. And that's one of the reasons why I think it's a little bit more expensive. So, you know, if you're new to it, if you're just starting out, and if you just want to like play around with colors and stuff, um, you know, the Army Painter brand war paints are like usually a little bit cheaper, and usually they're a little bit like less specialized, I guess. Like ultramarine blue is a very like particular kind of blue. You know what I mean? Because it's built specifically for Space Marines. Whereas like the Army Painter brand paints are a little bit more generic, like they're bone or like ocean blue or things like that. So it might be a little bit easier to use something like Army Painter brand paints if you're painting not Warhammer. Um, just because it might be a little bit easier to distinguish colors between themselves. I'll give you an example. Like, where is it? Where is it? Like I have this brown that I use for a lot of like the rust colors and stuff like that, and it's called Rhinox hide. Now, Rhinox, I believe, is it's like a monster in the Warhammer universe. Like I actually don't know what a Rhinox is, but that's the brown you would use if you're painting a Rhinox. Now, if you don't know what a Rhinox is, that might be a little bit difficult to translate like which color goes where. And especially there's some colors that can be a little bit weird, like you know, like I got this pot of Wraithbone here, and like it kind of like it looks very like pasty, but also it looks kind of dull in the container. But when you put that on one of your models, I don't have a good example here right now, but like it can end up looking a little bit warmer on the model itself. So that can be one of the things that might sort of trip you up. And that's one of the things that Army Painter paints really have going for them, is that they have like a 1-to-1 color match guarantee, where like, you know, they basically say like, hey, if you take a look at the color on the pot of paint, that's the color that it's going to be when you like squeeze it out. Rhinox are ogre mounts. I did not know that. And now I do. I've always been wondering what a Rhinox is and why its hide is the perfect shade of brown for rust. Every brand of paint is compatible with every miniature brand? Hell yeah. Vallejo is another one that I've also heard a lot of. I kind of parodied that in there was a video that I posted, like a short that I posted a while back, where I was sort of making fun of you know, like gatekeepy painting tutorials, where I made the fictional tutorial maker going like, you have to be using Valerian brand paints, otherwise I'm gonna go to your house and like kick you in the head, sort of thing. And like people thought that I was making fun of Vallejo specifically, and I was like, oh no, I didn't actually know that there was a brand that existed. I just made a word up. Like I might have subconsciously heard about it before, but people thought that I was like digging into like an actual brand that exists. Like, oh, should I avoid this brand? Are they like, are the people who use them toxic or something? I'm like, no. They make good paints. I literally just did not know that they existed. I prefer Vallejo and Army Painter because their dropper bottles are less annoying than Citadel pots. Yeah, that is true. Like, I kind of like, I don't know, like I know a lot of people have a lot to say about the, you know, the weird sort of pot system that Citadel paints have. Like you can see in like the metallic ones, it gets really crunky and like really thick up there, but it's really thin in the actual pot itself. But I don't know, like I don't mind it that much. I think I've got a bit of like nostalgia for them. You know what I mean? So yeah, maybe it's just a case of one of those things where like I don't know how easy the alternative is because I've never tried it, and that makes me subconsciously not want to try it, because if I try it and I realize it's way easier than what I'm doing now, I'm gonna be like, fuck, why did I not do this? Why did I not do this at the very beginning? You know what I mean? Okay. You own like 3 Deft Reds? Hell yes. Love that. Nice. Two of them are kit bashed? Hell yeah. I didn't like I love kit bashing my models. Because I had the Orc Combat Patrol, like I didn't have a lot of options for kit bashing. Like, you can sort of see like all the individual orcs that I have in the background. They essentially like, because they come in a pack of 20 of them in the Combat Patrol, you can only build them one way specifically. I'm not sure if you have any like customization options if you buy them individually. I think from what I've seen, the individual box of boys is like you get what you get. Like there's not really many customization options with them. I don't know. I could be wrong there, just because I've never bought like the box individually. Um, but yeah, I had a bit of customization options with the Death Dread because there's definitely like different guns you can put on them. Like I think you can give them like a rocket launcher or like a flamethrower. Um, but I think in the proper Death Dread model, I think you could give it four melee weapons, like 4 arms. But you could not do that. You couldn't do it with the Combat Patrol. The Combat Patrol only had 2 arms, and then the other 2 arms had to be guns down here. Because like, yeah, it's like I think if you buy the model proper, you can build it to have 4 arms and just be purely melee. But yeah, I like the fact that it's got some guns on there too. There we go. Thank you for all the paint information. No problem. Like, you'll very quickly find that, like model painting is a fairly, it's not as scary as it might first seem. Like when you first start, dabbling with it, it can seem a little bit intimidating. But once you get down to it, it's like, oh, this is finger painting. This is like every other artistic medium. It's just on a 3-dimensional model and like made of plastic. Like it's the same as putting eyeliner on your face, or drawing with ink. Like it's a very simple process at the end of the day. You can make 2 Death Dreads from 1 kit if you find a body and a pair of legs. Oh my god. I didn't know that. That seems like a good way to make some extra value. Advanced coloring. I mean, that's kind of what it is. Like, it's a paint by numbers, except in the 3rd dimension. And also, you get to choose what the numbers are. Okay, I just need, like, I've noticed there's like a tiny patch of silver on like one of these smokestacks back here that I forgot to fill in. It's so not visible and so not important, but like I'm noticing it and it's annoying me. So I'm just gonna go in there. One of my other favorite things about painting orcs is that even if there's like little errors or little mistakes or like things that aren't quite filled in properly, like it still works. Orc technology is like ramshackled just shit on shit together. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, if like different bits are like different colors, or like they're kind of like the painting isn't done super well on them, or like the paint doesn't have total coverage over the model, like that's fine. Because then it's just like, oh yeah, it's rusted, or like the paint's chipping, or like it's ramshackle, it's put together poorly because it's made by orcs. Yeah, so like my favorite thing about the orcs is that there's no real way to paint them wrong. Even when it comes to kit bashing, like that's one of my other favorite things. Like you can make them as silly as you want. Like, I've posted him like a good couple of times, but we've got my war boss in mega armor here with his infamous bomber hammer, that I like ripped from a Dakajet kit. So it's like, yeah, this is dumb, this is stupid, it absolutely doesn't work the way that it's supposed to. But because it's orcs, it does work, And here's another example that I haven't like shown yet because it's not done. I got a packet of Gretchen, you know, like the Run Herd and Gretchen a little while back. I haven't painted any of them yet, but here's my favorite one so far. So yeah, that's a torpedo that he's holding, just casually. He's gonna fucking explode that thing. Like, you know that's not gonna end well. It's a nice... Oh god, what's happening up there? This, like, power pack here is, like... It's got some, like, excess... I don't know, you can't really see, but it's got some, like, excess, copper on it that's making it a little bit crunchy. But again, that's fine. That is fine to do. Yeah, like I love kitbashing. I'm not like I don't usually go like super over the top with it. Like there's I've been building and painting some of the Space Marines of the Leviathan set, and like because I had some assault intercessors and things like that, or like some other models beforehand, like I found some really subtle ways to kitbash them. Like here, I'll just finish up the last of this lead belch so I can give an example. Because like orcs, you can go really over the top with kitbashing. Like you can just like, you know, slap on a giant head on a tiny Gretchen body. You can like slap bombs and explosives everywhere. You can put like 20 machine guns on everything. But then when it comes to the Space Marines that I like to do, they're usually a lot more subtle. Like, where's an example? I think I have an example over here. Oh, here he is. He's just back in the corner here. Like, you can see he's sort of like pointing an arm. He's sort of like pointing out an arm forward, like doing like a commanding gesture sort of thing. That is a kitbash from a Heavy Intercessors set. So one of the things that, you know, one of the criticisms about the Leviathan box set, or a lot of the other Warhammer sets that are, you know, bulk packs and added value, is that you can't customize the pieces a lot because, you know, you're getting like 50 of them in a single box. Like, that's kind of the trade-off, you know? So all of the Infernus Marines in that set, they can only be built one way. So in order to just do something as subtle as like give a pointing hand on the side of the model there, I had to cut off some of the spokes. I had to like cut off an arm completely. Like you can kind of see here on the sort of like grip handle of the flamethrower, it's got like a grip there. That is actually the underside of a Space Marine's fist. Like it's supposed to sort of go together like this, where, you know, the Space Marine's hand is kind of like it's connected to the handle of the flamethrower. But by simply painting it gray, you know, you sort of just interpret it as part of the flamethrower itself. Like you can't actually tell that that's supposed to be a hand. And I don't know, I just like doing really subtle things like that. You know, just I love just finding ways to personalize the models and be like, okay, you're telling me there's only one way I can set this up. I'm going to set it up a completely different way because fuck you. That's some good ginger ale. Okay, is there anything else I need to do here? No, I think it's good for now. Like I really want to get yeah, like I really want to get started on putting some shade paints on this guy because I've shade painted pretty much every other model in the set. I just need to sort of apply the shade paints here. I'm just gonna put the brightness up as much as it can go. Whoops, I've completely kicked my fucking tripod. But you know what? That's fine. That's fine. Okay, so now from this point, actually, I might just, you know, just put my hand entirely in front of the screen there. That's fine. Oh god, look at all my pores. Disgusting. I think from here I can just... There we go. There we go. That lights it a bit better. Alright, so I need my shade paints. Where is that? Usually So for the like heavier metal stuff that I do here, or like the heavier metal that I have on the orcs of the combat patrol, I've been using the Agrex Earthshade Gloss paint, which I mentioned before is a discontinued shade paint that you cannot get anymore. So I cannot afford to spill this, because if I do, I simply cannot get it back. Because basically it's a shade paint that adds a little bit of a, like, glossiness to it. You can sort of see, you can maybe see it a little bit on the war boss in Mega Armor over here. Like, yeah, he's got like a little bit of a sheen to him. So like, yeah, it gives him more of like a coppery glow kind of thing. Which I enjoy. I know that these shade paints were, like, they became, like, they were discontinued for a number of reasons. Like, I know that a lot of the old shade paints, like a lot of the old shade paints, like they've redone the formula, sort of thing. So there we go. I just really just like douse it. Really get in all the nooks and crannies, all the cracks. Agrex Earthshade is the worst taste in all of them. That's, you know what, I believe that. As a connoisseur of paint tasting myself, the Agrex Earthshade has an earthy undertone that, you know what, it tastes like... It tastes like one of those things that you've been told your entire life is gourmet, but then you get down to it and it's like, oh no, this is bad, actually. It's like how we romanticize oysters, like, day in and day out. Like, that's a rich people food. Like, yeah, if you're eating oysters, it's the fucking... You're living the high life, you know what I mean? But then it's also, but it's just salty globs of phlegm. Like, why are we romanticizing this? Like, I know it's a status symbol because it's expensive. Why can't it be good? I actually do kind of like oysters, though. I'm sort of a freak like that. Then again, I just come from a country where we love our seafood in general. That's the one thing I miss. That's the one thing I miss since I moved away from Australia, is that the seafood here is expensive and it's also not good. Or so I'm told. I haven't been courageous enough to I haven't been courageous enough to try. Let's be honest. Oh yeah, just get that all in these nooks and crannies here. Now when it comes to shade painting, I have to remind myself to trust the process, because you know, my whole sort of goal with it is to like lather it on, you know, get it really into those nooks and crannies. And sometimes I'm like, oh, this looks like shit. I fucked it up. I fucked up all my hard work, and this is awful. But then 20 minutes later, it's dried, and I'm like, you know what? I take it back. I'm based. I'm based and chad-pilled. Trust the process. That's all I'll say. Like coffee. Ugh. Coffee is a necessary evil. I need it to live, but I'm not happy about that. Okay, where do I go next? What type of ginger ale are you eating? I'm also having a Canada Dry. It's good shit. If it's not medicine, why does it feel like it medicines you? You know? That's all I'll say. There we go. You can tell that like this brush that I'm using is absolutely, like, it is messed up. Like, I cannot describe like how splayed the brush tip is. That's because I've really been like cramming it in the undersides of the Death Dread. Because I need to get in there. I simply need to get in there. Yeah, oysters are good. I know, like, I only pretend that they're bad so I can, like, fit in with my peers. But I will, like, schlop those guys till the end of time. Get that glossy shade paint in there. Slurp, slurp, slurp. Yum, yum, yum. What am I saying? Okay, now I want to go on the faceplate too, but I'm being really careful not to get any of the earth shade on my pristine white teeth. Because I want to avoid that. Yeah, just get it in between the teeth there. There we go. Just we can get it right in the cracks there. Because what this shade paint's going to do, because it's a gloss paint, is that it's going to give everything like a little bit of a sheen to it. But then I'm going to go through and I'm going to give it like a whole dry brush in like Xandri dust or something like that. To like, you know, highlight its more, like it's like I'm giving it the glossy treatment, but then I'm taking the gloss away. It's almost as though I'm making it look as though like, hey, this metal was once really like sparkly and metallic, but then it just got messed up over time with like rust and shit like that. Which is really the orky aesthetic that I'm going for. Trust the process. That's right. What's the plan for this army? Well, the first plan is so basically I just want to. So I bought the combat patrol because my partner got me some Storm Boys for Christmas, and I was like, oh yeah, these guys are great. And I also wanted to buy myself some new Warhammer for Christmas as well. So I'll buy more orcs. I'll just buy a bunch of orcs and throw them in, you know. And it was a good value pack, and they're having sales and everything like that, so that was really cool. Then I also joined like a local challenge at my local Warhammer store. It was like the new, it was like, what is it called? Like the New Year, New Army Challenge. So it was basically like, hey, you know, sign up and paint a whole box of something by March 31st, and you'll get some quote-unquote cool swag. Now, there's no doubt in my mind that their idea of cool swag is just going to be like, I don't know, like a pin or something like that, like something really small. But, you know, I'm not complaining. I think it's a good way to like, you know, it's a fun little community challenge, and I was like, hell yeah, sign me up. So I need to finish painting the Orcs Combat Patrol by March 31st, which, as you might know, is this Sunday. So that's why I'm throwing on a stream to do my painting, so I can basically just keep myself accountable. Because if I was not on a stream right now, I would probably be like, you know what, I've been at this for 40 minutes. You know, I've definitely earned myself a 2-hour Helldivers break. And then I simply would not go back, and I would not finish the challenge, and I would not get my quote-unquote cool swag. Because I made a promise to that 50-year-old guy who runs the local Warhammer store, and by God, I don't want to let him down. Stupid. But in terms of my overall plan for the army, so okay, so I've got the combat patrol, which is 1 Death Dread, 20... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 boys, a war boss in mega armor, and 3 Death Copters. You can't really see in the background, but they are there, I promise you. And so that's like 480 points. Like, I know that. I've done the math. I also have the 5 Storm Boys that I got for Christmas. So, like, the orcs... Oh, I've got one of them lying around. So, like, yeah, they're the orcs with, like, rocket packs and whatnot. So, I've got 5 of these guys. I've only got 1 of them painted. This is actually the first orc that I finished painting. Like, this was the guy who sort of set the tone and color scheme for the rest of my, army. So I've got the 480 points of the combat control. I've got the 10 Storm Boys, which is like an extra 100 points. I have a Dakka Jet. It's primed. It's ready to paint. I haven't gotten to painting it yet. And then, like a month ago, as a treat for me, Um, as a treat for me hitting like a life milestone, I also got Gazgul Thraka, who is like, the legendary orc unit. Like he's the epic hero that you have to have as a warlord. Like he's basically the orc's version of a Primarch model. And I'm really looking forward to building him because he looks really cool. He's really big, and I also read the Gazkul book, which was really fun to read. So I really like him as a character, and so I'm very much excited to paint him up. His box isn't in here. It's like out in the. It's out in the what do you call it? It's like out in the living room right now, so I like can't hold up the box to show it. But just Google. I'd say Google Gazkul Thraka, but if you don't already know who that is, you're gonna have no idea how to spell that. Just Google Big Orc Gaz, and you can spell Gaz however you want because it'll most likely autocorrect to the right thing. There we go. There we go. There we go. That's on Gaz. Any mids for him in mind? Mids. That's a term that I am unfamiliar with. I mean, I wanted to build my Gaz on like a, oh, mods. That makes a lot more sense. I should have anticipated that. Like I want to build Gaz, like, so pretty much, and I'm still kind of torn on what I want to do here because all of my orc models are, they're built on a base of they're built on kind of like an earthy base. Like I can't remember what like basing concrete that I used, but it's like the brown one. Like it's the Xandri dust. It's the Xandri dust sort of variant. You know what I mean? Um, and so like that's how all of my orc models are built. But for Gaz, I kind of want to build him on a snowy base because in the Gaskell novel, Gaz's home planet of Urk was a snow planet. It was a planet where the sun was dying. It was covered in a permanent winter, and it was just covered in snow. So I kind of want to do like a Gazgul Origins kind of base for him. And like I know that won't that like see the part that I'm torn on is that it'll look so different from the rest of the orcs that I've built. Like he'll kind of look out of place. Um, but it's also like it feels like it's part of his story, you know. And also when I build the Makari mini that comes with it, because part of the story had a lot to do with Makari getting like touched by. Oh, probably want to phrase that a little bit better. But when Gazgul would like leave an imprint of his hand on Makari's shoulder because he was like touched by the gods or whatever. So I want to make sure that handprint is on Gaz. Oh, it's on Makari, I should say. Gazgul's so cool, the air chills around it. Hell yeah, he does. My partner works 40 hours a week, so he doesn't have time or energy to paint. Like, yeah, that's definitely like one of the things that I've sort of come to. Like, I'm working full time now since I moved, which means I have a lot more money to buy Warhammer with, but it also means I have a lot less time to paint it. So I have a lot of models in the backlog that I want to get to, believe you me. Believe you me. It's just sitting there. Yeah. Like that's kind of what I've done too. Like I have just had a whole bunch of models like sitting on the kitchen table. There's all my paints around it, sort of thing. So I usually try to do like anytime I have like a little bit of spare time, I'll do like one element of it. Like I've been chipping away at these things very slowly over the last couple of weeks. Like, it is very rare that I'll, like, sit down and, like, devote, like, a good couple of hours to it. Like, literally, the only reason that I'm, like, putting on a stream in the background now is to literally just keep myself accountable. Like, I can't alt-tab to do things. I can't go take a video game break. Like, I'm on the clock. I'm live, baby. Even though I'm only going live on a freaking phone with a camera pointed downwards. And half the time I'm covering it up with the bottom of the base in the back of my hand. So... See, I thought about making the barrel on the back red, but I wanted to use red very sparingly. Like, I wanted to use more yellows, if anything. And like that was just a timing thing. Like I had the deadline of getting these done by end of March, and I was like, oh, if I go through, like I can just go through, make it the same brown as everything else, and like it'll be fine, and I'll get it done on time, sort of thing. Because yeah, like in all the models that I have, like red is used very sparingly. Like I only really have it on the eye of the Death Dread and some of the cables that are looping around. Um, but yeah, like mostly I wanted to keep it brown and yellow. So, you know, very much keeping with the coppers, keeping with the rust, things like that. And so that's been the ultimate goal. And that's what I've been doing. And I feel like to me, it's really satisfying to have like a consistent through line between all the models. You know what I mean? Like they look like they're from the same army and they look like they have unit cohesion. You know, like I like having them all on the table now, and like I might take a photo of it later after I've put a bit of work on some of the ones that need work. Like even just having them all in one place for like the first time after I started painting them, I'm like, oh, I get it now. I understand. Like I love this. Like it feels good. Feels good. But yeah, for now I just have to like really, really fucking lay on the shade paints just to get these done. And again, it makes them look wet. But eventually, after I put on like the dry brushing and all the detailing and everything like that, it'll look a lot more coherent. And the other good thing about painting them all like the same color scheme is that I can just slap on the same Agrax Earthshade gloss, and like I'm basically just dousing the whole model in that. For some of these like lead belcher or metallics, sort of like in the pipes and stuff like that, I might use I've got the Null Oil gloss, so I'll probably use that for them. So like have a little bit of difference in shading. And for the faceplate, I don't think I'm going to use the gloss. Like the gloss can be a little bit overbearing. Like I don't think the gloss really works on whites, or at least not the ones that I have. At least not the ones that I have. Let's see, I'll just get in there, just getting into all the nooks and crannies. Because shade paints pull a lot, I really want to try and like get them all, like get a nice good coverage, especially around like the finer details, so I don't have to like go over it. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to refresh that stream because I'm getting a little bit behind now. Okay. Zoopty-doo. There we go. Did I lose the chat? No, I didn't. Thank God. That would have been awful. My guys are full red evil sun speed freaks. Yeah, it's hard to do. Like when you have a and that's one of the other reasons why I didn't go for I get the orcish color schemes, like the red suns and the yellow guys. For me, when I think of orcs, like my first exposure to orcs was like the Space Marine video game, like Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine. And in that game, all of the orcs are wearing like brown leather, essentially. Like their color scheme is kind of just drab brown. So that's what that's like what I have the nostalgia for when it comes to orcs, right? So that's really what I wanted to focus on. So none of the like actual like orc clan, like the canonical orc clans who are like, you know, full yellow, full red, or like full black. None of those like really spoke to me in the way that like, you know, a sort of like copper brown color scheme did. Because that's what I have nostalgia for. Like when I think orcs, I think of, you know, the enemies in the Space Marine game who are like running at you, screaming British things, like cut them to bits, you know, things like that. Space Marines, you know. See, that's really why I went for like the sort of like dusty brown sort of color scheme, and like I've painted before I painted the orcs, I was painting Space Marines. And like they're full color, like they're full blue, classic, you know, McCrag blue Ultramarines, and so it was fun to go with something that's a little bit more like rusty, a little bit more rundown, a little less pristine in their color scheme, and like that's really the fun that I'm having here. Like I'm painting something that's a little bit more drab, a little bit more, you know, earthy. And it just gives me variety in the things that I paint. And that's really like the thing for me, I think. Okay, what else do I need to... I'm gonna just slap an Agrax down. I feel like I should be like taking my time, but I also want to do it before it dries up. You know what I mean? Ooh yeah, schlorp, schlorp, schlorp. Schlorp, 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 schlorp. Let's see, anything else I need? So I'll put like another little layer on this. But yeah, like I sort of said, like, you know, because of the natural, like, earthy, rusty browns that I have on all of my orc schemas, it's like, mistakes are fine. Mistakes look like they're a part of the paint job. And I like having that freedom. Okay. Okay, cool. think I think that's most of the rusty brown shade paints that I wanted to get to. And I'm sure they're not fully showing up on camera anyway, but you know what? That's my burden to bear. Actually, I might just very quickly... Yeah, I've just got to go to the undersides here, which we're absolutely not going to see because the bloody base is in the way. I'm just going to slide this down as quick as possible. Underside of the model. Rada, rada, rada. First I tried to pull off full rust. Oh yeah, like I've seen tutorials on how to do like actual rust. And it's hard. Like I got a copy of like White Dwarf the other month. It was like, hey yeah, rust tutorial. First of all, like spray your entire tank with like actual hairspray designed for humans. Huh? You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, spray with like hairspray and then like do a layer on it and then you can like pick it off because it's like covered in hairspray already. And it's like, whoa, that seems like way... That seems like way too much of a MacGyver solution for my liking. Like, I wanna... I don't know about that one, Chief. That's like very conventional rust. Like, what I'm doing here is basically just making like a rusty copper brown all over. Like... I'm not really a fan of... Oh, okay. Maybe I should, you know, choose my words a little carefully. Like, I am a fan of, like weathering that some people do on their models, where they actively do it, where they actively, like, chip the paint away and make it look like, you know, their Space Marines have seen 1,000 years of war and things like that. Like, I respect it, but that's not for me. Like, I want my models to be a little bit more... vibrant, for lack of a better word. Like, I want them to be a little bit more pristine, a little bit more well-kempt. Like, that's why I like, I get why people love to, like, weather their Space Marines and be like, yeah, they've seen thousands of years of war across the galaxy. Of course, they're paint armor's gonna be chipped. But I'm like, no, I like painting my guys fresh off the fucking Manufactorum. Like, I like it. I enjoy it. Like, I like making things, like, pristine and, like, adding all the fine little details on there. Like, that, to me, you know... Because I'm the one painting it at the end of the day. And for me, I'm like, yeah, I want to feel proud of this paint job. Like, I feel like if I was to, like, weather things on purpose... Like, in my brain, and I know that this isn't the case, and I do have a lot of respect for the technique and everything like that. To me, I'm like, oh, that makes my model look... worse. I don't like worse, but like it looks like it's unkempt. You know what I mean? See, I respect weathering. I love the effect that it gives on models. But it's just not for me. And that's okay. I feel like there's... Okay, yeah, it's a little bit more... Let's shade up here. And yeah, I think I've pretty much got all of the parts of the model that need the Agrax gloss now. Which means I can now move on to the silvery stuff at the back. Which I'm gonna douse in null oil. Because I'm only human. Let me take a bit of a drink first. Get out of here. Go play some Overwatch. Not now. I'm drinking piss. It's gross. Ugh. And also just happens to be this way the mom was making. Yeah, like... Oh, that's bad. I got like a water bottle, and I filled it with one of those like vitamin C things, you know, like, I don't know what you call them. Like vitamin C juices, the stuff that you take when you're sick. Because I have a bunch left over from when I was sick. And I was like, you know what? I can just throw that in there, right? But what I didn't anticipate was that one sachet is supposed to be like a cup of water. And I've got like 3 cups of water in that bottle. So now it just tastes like really weak orange juice. And I'm not gonna say that it ruined that it has ruined my day. But it's up there. There's my fucking null oil. There it is. Okay, there's just this little like patch of this little like sliver of lead belcher that's like dried out, just sitting on my fucking workspace. These colors are lovely. Thank you. I was going for shit rusty brown. Hello. Hello from Washington. Center of democracy in the Western world. It's where the president lives, I'm told. Okay, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? Null oil. That's what I want. I think my partner likes to use a chipping medium for rust. Hell yes. Okay. Okay. So now that I have to put null oil on here, it's like I'm gonna need to like really make sure that it doesn't like clash with any of the agrax that I've put on there. I mean, I guess it can blend together. Like, it's literally just, like, brown and grey. So, like, they'll probably blend together fine. But, you know, I want to make sure that I'm still doing the best I can. Shit, rusty brown is a great color. Hell yes, it is. Sun. Okay. Gonna move this over there. Alright, let's see. What am I doing here? What am I doing? What am I doing with my life? There it is. I'll just angle this up so it can be a little bit easier seen by both the camera and myself. There we go. Oh yeah, like the Nuln Oil gloss, like apparently like old Nuln Oil, which the gloss variant kind of is. It's like the old formula. Like it you, I'm not sure if you can really see it on camera, but it's really like watery and like it kind of shrinks a little bit after you put it down and gives you a really like water splashing kind of effect. Um, which for the sake of an orc model, I'm fine with. But I would really hesitate to put it on like a newer model that's like a little bit nicer. Like there's really like I'm not sure. Yeah, like you can kind of see this sort of like splotchy dry bits, I guess. I will be sure to pass that message on, and it will be an Easter miracle. It will be received as an Easter miracle, I should say. I mean, she's just Amber's just in the other room right now, so I probably could just like yell, and she'd probably hear me. But I don't want to yell at her through the wall. Keep that narrative power going. Hell yeah! Like that's one of the other reasons why I want to like finish painting these orcs so I can like do more, custom orc lore fucking TikToks, which those things fucking pop off. Like I think the first custom orc lore short that I made and posted on YouTube, I think that single-handedly is gonna push me to monetization on YouTube. Because like in order to get monetization, you need to have 1,000 subscribers, which there she is. Confirmed. Um. Oh, thanks. Glad to be kept on stream. Hell yeah. But yeah, like I think the custom orc lore like fucking videos that I did, like the first one that I posted is like at 300,000 views or something like that. And like 300,000 views times the 1 minute like time that it has. Because like the monetization the monetization metrics are a little bit delayed. So like they have to go through like extra verification. And so like my analytics is telling me that I have like 7,000 watch hours in like the last month or so. Um which is all because of these fucking stupid orc TikToks that I made. And so yeah, once the analytics sort of like catches up, I can probably like do ads on YouTube after that because you only need 4,000 watch hours in order to do that. And yeah, if I've got like 7,000. I found you through YouTube Shorts. Hell yes, those shorts have been doing their job. I'm definitely experimenting a bit more with like shorts now because like like I wanted to start making YouTube videos to do like more long form stuff because I've been doing the TikTok thing for a while. Yeah, I've been doing it on Instagram as well. Um, and like I sort of wanted to have a place to do live streams and stuff like that, but I don't know, Twitch just wasn't it for me. Like I don't know, like on Twitch everything just felt like so much pressure. Like it had to be an event. And like I know there's a culture of, creator growth and stuff like that on Twitch where it's like, people like raid each other and like, do collab streams and everything like that. But like I don't know, I just like to have my own little place where I can like post my stupid little videos and like if nobody sees them, that's fine. I just spat all over my model, but it's covered in shade paint, so that's probably fine. Because like I feel like when I would do like early YouTube streams, well, not YouTube, when I would do like early Twitch streams back in the day, and like no one would watch them because I I I wasn't anybody. You know what I mean? Or like I hadn't been doing it for a while. It was very like defeating sort of thing. It was very like, oh, okay, I'm I'm putting in this effort. Like I've got this OBS stuff. I'm doing my like makeup for streams and everything because I'm also a makeup guy on Instagram, which is something that a lot of people don't know when they first start following me, and it's always a surprise when they fucking find out. When I do on YouTube, I just like fucking like my phone's on a tripod, and there's a ring light on top of it, and there's a ring light beside it. One of them's running on battery and is definitely going to run out at some point. And when that happens, I'm just going to be like, yeah, I can call the stream there. Like that'll be fine. It feels a lot more low stakes, and that to me makes it feel fun. And even when I like make YouTube videos and stuff like that, if like 100 people watch them, that's fine. Like people can watch them later. You know, there's like they still exist. They're still there. And you know, that's something that's very freeing for me. Like to have a sort of like channel set up where it's like, okay, everything that I'm posting here is like stuff that I've made. Almost like a gallery. You know, TikTok, Instagram, you know, I've got like a fucking 100,000 followers between them. But it's all very like off the cuff sort of things. Like once a TikTok, like if a TikTok doesn't like pop off after like the first, you know, couple of days or something like that, you know, not many people are going to see it. And like that's fine. You know, that's how the algorithms work. Like that's how they do their thing. Like that's fine. When I post something to YouTube, I'm like, you know, this is a part of my gallery. It's a dumb little joke that I made, and it's here forever. And you know, like even if nobody watches it, people can come to my channel later, they can watch it later. It feels a lot more active. Like I feel like when people watch me on YouTube, it's because they're like choosing to watch my stuff, whereas, you know, when I get like 10 million views on a TikTok, or like 2 million or something like that, it's like, okay, you're here because a computer has decreed that my thing is good. And like even when I get like 2 million views, half of them don't matter because it's just people like mindlessly scrolling past stuff. So like when people watch me on YouTube and they like sit down and watch the full thing, and I can see like the analytics that people have like sit down to watch the full thing, I'm like, oh, you did this because you enjoyed this, or I was at least entertaining enough to like get you to stick around until the end. You know what I mean? I don't know. Those shorts are why I'm here right now? Hell yes. They've been doing their job. I'm here because I know how to get to your living room. That's... don't do that. Don't dox me. Twitch is rough. I've been there for 5 years. Yeah, it's like... The thing I think people don't really, like, see about Twitch, or, like, they don't really, like, understand, in my sort of experience, is that, like, Twitch isn't... It's not a platform that can stand alone, but it's also not really a platform that, like, integrates or, like, plays very well with other platforms, either. Like, you know, you can't... It's very difficult to, like, naturally find channels to watch on Twitch, because it's always showing you, like, the biggest streamers and like the biggest personalities, and like when it comes down to it, you know what is a Twitch stream? It's somebody sitting playing video games for like 5 hours, or like hours at a time, and you're watching it. It's very like natural. It's very off the cuff, and it's very hard to like find your place in that, especially when it's, you know, when the system, you know, obviously wants to prioritize the most popular streamers, because the most popular streamers are the ones that get the most subs and bits and make the most revenue for the platform. So, like, in order to like find success on Twitch, you kind of have to like, you know, post your clips on other platforms and like go outside of the ecosystem. And it's very hard to do that because when you're on Twitch, you know, you're playing games for like 5 hours at a time. It's very hard to pull out like 60-second snippets of that for a YouTube short, or like for a TikTok or something. And you know, unless you have a very interesting personality, or unless you like plan to do stuff beforehand. Like that was the first thing I did when I had a when I did Twitch streams in like my very early days. I would like have a list of like bits or like conversation topics or like things that I knew could like create content later, And I would like bring those up, and then I would like cut out the 60-second snippets and like post them as TikToks and things like that. And like that's how I got followers on Twitch. Like that's how I was getting people to my platform. Like I was creating content rather than just waiting for it to spontaneously happen for me. And even then, it was very hard. It's very hard, especially nowadays, to get people to move platforms. TikTok is very sticky. They don't like it when, you know, you're directing people off the app. You know, and it's very hard to get people off the app. Whereas like with YouTube, I feel like it's like, you know, I can live stream here, but I also have my little funny little discography of videos that, you know, people can go through and watch. You know, like the main draw for me here is my YouTube videos. Like it is, you know, the videos that I make that are like, hey, here's a fun little joke that I did, or here's me like, you know, reacting to like shitty D&D stories on Reddit and giving my like dungeon master advice sort of thing. Like, you know, it's in my like those sorts of videos are in my wheelhouse. They are skills they rely on skills and knowledge that I have in particular subcultures that I could quote unquote be an expert on. As, you know, crazy as that might be. Um and yeah, I'm losing the point of all this, but like when, like basically what it comes down to for me is that like when I stream on YouTube, I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna paint for a bit, or I'm just gonna like play some fucking games, and like that's fine. Like I'm not worried about like growing or like expanding my platform or like creating content, quote unquote. Like because I can find a following with YouTube videos and like the other sort of content that I posted, I have a little bit more confidence that like the people who are coming to watch me on streams are not finding me for the first time and deciding whether or not I'm somebody who they want to like join the community of sort of thing. It's more just like, yeah, I'm chilling, and like I have a little bit more of an expectation that the people who want to chill with me are people who have been exposed to my work before. You know, they're the people who have come to my YouTube videos from Instagram or TikTok. You know, it's not like I'm not trying to cultivate a cult, you know, within the confines of the streaming platform. It's like, yeah, 90% of you are probably coming through from, you know, the Instagram story that I posted, or, you know, you're subscribed to me on YouTube for other reasons. And so I can just be a lot more chill. Like I don't have to put myself out there as like advertising myself 24/7. Like it's not like, "Oh, hey, welcome to the stream, like join the community, join the Discord." Like, you know, if you're here, chances are you've been exposed to my work, and I don't have to justify my own existence to you for some measure of like financial or performative success. Like I just want to vibe, man. I just want to vibe. Yeah, being standalone on Twitch is just rough. And like for me, that's not conducive to the way that I like to work. Like, you know, I tried to do, I did Twitch for a little bit, and I had like, you know, I had a couple of regulars. I had a good time. I have a couple of bits that I really enjoy because what I would use because I would like plan bits in advance and do like cool editing stuff. Like, you know, I remember the first time I streamed like Doom Eternal, I like, you know, jumped into the opening portal that like starts the game, and like I triggered a cutscene manually that like made it into the opening of Skyrim when that was a big meme at the time. And like I'm still very proud of that. It's like, you know, the modern day Rickroll, I suppose. But yeah, like I just want a space that I can chill out, that I can talk about Warhammer, that I can like paint my little guys, keep myself accountable with the creative projects that I'm trying to do. And like that's what's conducive to me. Like if nobody watched this, um like even if nobody watched this, or even if, you know, nobody subscribes or like donates or like anything from that, then like that's fine to me. You know, I have that sort of mindset where it's low key chilling, like no expectations, and that makes it impossible to fail. Like if you give yourself a failure state, you can meet that failure state. And that's something that I've learned, over the last couple of years. And that's really sort of guided my content philosophy. Like, if I'm like, oh yeah, I want to do something big and grand, and I want to, like, spend lots of money on it, or spend lots of time on it, so, and, like, I want to do something to, like, achieve a certain goal of like, get subscriber or, like, get donator sort of thing. And if I don't make that, then that's gonna feel like shit, you know? Like, if I like for example, like, if I was to, like, jump on Twitch right now and be like, yeah, let's do like a subathon or like a donation stream or something like that. Um, and if nobody does, because, honestly, why would they? Like, I'm not really a known quantity, or, like, I'm not really, like, I haven't been streaming on Twitch for whatever reason. So, like, if I'm like, yeah, I want to meet, like, a certain sub goal or something like that, or I want to do, like, a Kickstarter with, like, no planning or no preparation, and, like, you know, the goals aren't met, then that feels bad. So instead, I'm like, you know what? I want to go into this with no expectation. I want to make something that I think is funny, that I think is fun, that people might enjoy. And, like, if they enjoy it, great. If they don't, then that's also fine too. And that's really, like, guided my sort of content philosophy. Like, I've tried to, chase algorithms and, like, do trends. I've tried to, like, make fan art of series that I wasn't super into just because they were big at the time or whatever. But, like, now I'm like, I can do whatever I want. Which is one of the reasons why I don't really draw that much anymore, because it's like, I'm tired and I don't, like, find the same enjoyment with it. And so, like, I'm not going to try and become, like, a big Twitter artist, because, that's not what I want to do. Yeah, modern internet is wild. Hmm. But I like making videos, but what I do, people don't seem to like. I mean, and that's kind of the other thing. Like, you can't, like, it's so much better to just, like, make stuff for yourself or make stuff for your particular community, because, like, if if you try to go, like, yeah, I'm gonna be, like, more broad, I'm gonna be more generic, I'm gonna be like, I'm trying to go for, like, mass market sort of thing. Like, you can't appeal to everyone. It's like the developers of the game Helldivers said that, like, the team that made the game Helldivers, like, they had, like, a blog post talking about their philosophy, and one of the things that they said was, like, a game made for everybody is a game made for nobody. And at first I thought that was like, are you talking about some, like, fucking exclusionary shit or something like that? But then they were like, no, we just, we want to make a very specific kind of game. It's not going to be for everyone, but the people who it is for is going to be, like, they're going to enjoy it because it was made for them and that community. I should think like that, but I'm too anxious to chill. Yeah, it's hard. Like, one thing that I really focus on, or one thing that I've really, like, stopped focusing on over the last couple of years, is I don't care about numbers anymore. Like, whether or not a video gets seen, like, I don't care about how many views I get on TikTok. Like, if 500 people see it, or, like, if 10,000 people see it, like, that's so out of my wheelhouse and hard to control that it just doesn't matter. Like, if I focus on that, then I'm just gonna run myself ragged and nothing's ever gonna be good enough. So now I'm like, if I make something that I think is good or I think is funny, then the 500 people who see that 60-second video are gonna enjoy it. Or, like, I have the confidence that they'll enjoy it, and then, like, as long as the people who are seeing or who are engaging are having a good time, then I've won. Okay. Woohoo! But yeah, it's a hard mindset to pull yourself out of, and it's something that took, like, a lot of effort for me personally to do. And it's something that I don't beat myself up about for feeling. Like, if I, fall back into those traps and be like, oh, nobody likes my work, nobody likes my posts, everyone thinks I'm stupid. Like, I still let myself feel that. And I still let myself, you know, I still let myself feel let down whenever something fails to meet expectations, or I thought something was really good but nobody seemed to like it. Like, I still let myself feel those human emotions, but I don't let them define me, if that makes sense. I'm like, okay, there's always going to be the next post, there's always going to be the next thing, and you know what? Take it as a learning experience, or don't. Like, you were going to make something else after that anyway. Like, that's what I like to keep in mind. Like, no matter what happens, there was always going to be something else that I did after that. Where is my Seraphim Sapia? I'm looking for my piss paint. There it is. Okay. Yes, Ethan talks about content creation for 85 minutes. .internet.wav. Ooh, almost spilled it. Almost spilled it, but I didn't. I'm a god. What do I want to do about the white? I don't think I have like a gray shade paint, and that concerns me. I'm just going to keep it matte white. Like, I'm not going to put a shade paint there. So all that I need to shade from this now is to just do like the yellowy bits. Maybe a little bit of Nuln Oil over the eye. I forgot to do that, actually. I might do that. I might do that to begin with, just while I have the wet brush still here. Where is my Nuln Oil? Where is it? Oh, there it is. Oh no! Oh fuck, I don't have any paper towel either. How? It was closed. Alright, hold on. I gotta fucking clean myself up. 2 seconds. This is the worst! Disgusting. Wretched spillage. But yeah, content creation is difficult. Like, that's why I say that nobody should ever like feel bad for feeling bad about the things that they make and things like that. Like, it's all good to allow yourself to have those very real human emotions. Okay, I have paper towel on me. I need a paper towel anyway because I wanted to dry brush after this. So I don't know why I didn't have that on hand. So upsetting. Yeah. The thing I also like to keep in mind about YouTube and stuff like that is that it's an archive. It's a gallery. The stuff that you post now can still be seen later. But in order for it to be seen later, you just gotta make more stuff. I don't like that phrase. Boy win. Why is having paper towel on hand inherently a masculine feature? Don't answer that, actually. Okay. Just put a little, yeah, you can, a little bit of definition around that eye plate thing. And yeah, With a little bit of time, a little bit of effort, you know, you get your work out there, and it is good. One thing that I like to do is, one thing that I like to do is sneeze in the middle of a stream. Hold on. Nope, I'm good. Okay. Is that center frame? There he is. Okay, after I put this last little bit of yellow shade paint on some of the like yellow parts here, I might move over to dry brushing some of my other models because obviously I want to let the shade paint dry because it's very wet by default. And dry brushing requires things to not be wet and sticky. Yeah. Baited with a false sneeze. How do you think I feel? You think I didn't want that sweet release of sneezing? I wanted to let it all out. I wanted to scream at the top of I wanted an excuse to scream at the top of my lungs. I wanted to do a dad sneeze. I'm fully convinced that fathers only scream the way that they do is as simply just as a catharsis. Like there's nothing biologically. There's nothing like biologically that makes dads like scream sneeze as loud as they do. I simply think it's a matter of them being like, you know what, I'm old now. I can do this legally. Okay, I probably went a little bit overkill on the yellow there. Just gotta like dry it off in the back of some of this yellow stuff. Okay, just put on the back there. Alright. There we go. Alright, I think this is one glossy boy. It's one glossy dread. You can still scream at the top of your lungs. You don't need to do that. See, if I lived alone or in like a house that didn't have neighbors or anything like that, that would be the perfect time to just do like an ironic like scream sneeze. Just an ironic scream, actually. Just actually, okay, one more thing I need to do here is I need to do the base. I need to shade the base. Where is my Gilliman flesh? Where is my Gilliman flesh paint? Okay, it's not Gilliman flesh. It's Reichland flesh shade. I've had a bit of a back and forth on like what shade paint that I use because like I really like the base that I did for this Storm Boy, but like I can't remember what shade paint that I used for the cement on the base, and it's very subtle. Like I think it was Reichland flesh shade, but then I went off and when I made the when I did the War Boss, the shade paint that I used on the base was Berserker Blood shade, so it's got a bit more of a red tint. And, like, I think that kind of adds a little bit more definition because he's, like, you know, a war boss, and he's, like, the leader of the bunch, and you know him well. But, like, then I was, like, for the rest of the orcs, I was like, oh, yeah, I'll use, Agrak's Earthshade for the base. Or the shade on the base, rather. And now it just seems a little bit too dark. A little bit too dark to me. It also frustrates me that I didn't use the same base shade on all of them, so like they're all slightly different, and I don't know, but that fucks with me. I don't like that. I want everything to be uniform. I want everything to be the same. I want complete unit cohesion, but I don't get it. And you know what? That's fine. Let's see, I'm just gonna slap down some Reichland flesh shade on the base to like, you know, put some more definition between those nooks and or crannies. And that's still quite dark, actually. God fucking damn it. It's way more, like, colorful. That's like a really, like, vibrant brown, actually. I really just, like, douse it on the... I really just, like, douse it on the basing cement because, like, then I like, dry brush it with the same color that it already was originally. And it, like, really gets some layers to the texture there. How almost like makes it like brightened up. Actually, this is a Death Dread and not a Killer Can. But I thank you nonetheless. No, that's a joke. That's a joke. I'm not like that. I'm not like that. I'm not one of those guys. I remember going into the Warhammer store the other day and like somebody like I was and somebody also called it like a killer can and I was like, "Yep, that's exactly what it is." I think the killer cans look kind of silly. Like they like the Death Dread is like what do you call it? Like the Death Dread is really like it's a big mech. The killer cans are like orcs who basically just have like are just wearing trash bins. And I think that's delightful. I should get some killer cans though. No, I shouldn't. I already have enough models to paint. What am I doing? What am I doing? No, no, it's all good. Honestly, I know more about the Space Marines too. Like, I'm really pushing to get my combat patrol done for like the little like local game store challenge that I'm doing. But after that, I'm like, oh my god, I'm so happy I can like paint Tyranids again. Because for the last like month, it's just been like orc, 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 orc. Get this done. Get this done. And I've been having a great time with it. Don't get me wrong, but like, it's like sometimes you want different flavors, you know? Like orcs are a very particular flavor. Space Marines are a particular flavor, and like you have fun painting them in different ways. I find because it's like with orcs, it's like rusty, it's like scrappy, it's like they got big faces on everything. With Space Marines, it's very like, oh, yes, this is pristine. This is like, you know, ultimate grade military equipment. It's like very bright, very colorful. And then with the Tyranids, it's like, oh, we've got like fucking flesh at the wazoo. Like we got bones, we got like textures. Mwah. The Tyranids are definitely like the models that I have that I've like painted the least. So they're a very good palette cleanser, I find. I could definitely see why they went with Tyranids as the like current de facto villain in like this edition of the game. Because like if you buy the starter sets, it's like Space Marines and Tyranids, and I feel like you've got man with gun, and then weird little fucked up lizard creatures, and like they sort of represent like the two sort of like they sort of have like the dichotomy of the dichotomy of the game. You know what I mean? Why is my playback quality so bad? What have I done? Jesus Christ. That's crunchy. No, I better not look like. Yeah, I'm gonna. Jesus Christ. What am I streaming at? Like 260p? What the hell is that? What the hell is that frame rate? That better fucking sort itself out. Jesus Christ. Who's downloading on my Wi-Fi? Oh my god. Okay, it's getting a little better. It's getting a little better, I guess. Jesus. I mean, that's what I get for fucking streaming on a mobile phone that's not connected to anything. I need to have an overlay that's like, fucking, I promise my internet is better than this. Please. Maybe it'll get better. Maybe it's just on my end. Okay. What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? Okay, so I'm gonna leave this guy to dry a little bit because, oh no, he's like fucking, he's got a huge, oh god. I left like a bubble to dry and this like little headpiece there, and now it's, okay. That's fine. That's fine. It's fine. And it's white Reichland flesh shade up on there too. Jesus Christ. Okay. Right, I'm going to put him off to the side, up here. Just so I can get him out of the way. And then I'm going to bring in some of these guys. Bring in some of the planes. Womp, 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 womp. Okay. Alright, so I've already put like I've already put most of the shade paints on there. Now I just need to like give them a bit of a dust with the dry brushing. Okay. I love to dry brush. It's my favorite part of the game. Okay, looks like I've got a little bit of dust on there. I'm just gotta wipe them off real quick. Seems like I can wipe off the little Triceratops. Okay. Listen, I get that, you know, you can't create a model of something that is flying because that's physically impossible to do. Who thought it was a good idea to have the base be like this flimsy? Like it's like I feel like if I just pull it back it's gonna go spadoing and like fly off into the ether. Anyway, am I just complaining? Probably. Alright, so what do I need? I like to dry brush with Xandri dust. That's Gold Griffin. Not what I want. Okay. So I'll get these like white pages out of here because that like fucks with the color balance. Yeah. My desk is a mess, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Okay. There we go. Okay. Okay. Okay, so first I just load up my brush with the Xandri dust, and then I wipe it off on a towel. Which I'm doing off screen, because then it won't fuck with my color balancing. Ever since I like discovered how dry brushing works, I'm like, I fucking love this. It's my favorite part every time. Like, it feels like magic. You know, that's like, okay. Only problem for me here is that like the base is so flimsy on this one that like I can't not just fling him around every which way. Very subtle. Like, hold it up there. Is that going to be in focus or not? There we go. So I want to make sure that this like dry Xandri dust brush that I'm getting is like only going on the like copper brown bits. It like just sort of like exposes the raised edges of the model. Get those like edging effects there. Oh, Jesus Christ, what is my frame rate doing? Okay. Alrighty, okay. Dry. I didn't even know if it was gonna, like, come up on stream, to be honest, but, like, you can start to see, like, you know, around here, around where the like dragon head thing is there, and there's like really like fine lines across it. I love that shit. It's my favorite part of the whole process. Even if the model that I'm using is like has such a flimsy base that like it feels like it's gonna snap. Like that's really, you know, where I'm coming from now. Yeah, right under there. There we go. How's that looking? Yeah, you can see like we're getting like the edge highlighting like down there on the. It's just like you're adding some extra definition to the edges, and like I fucking love that shit, man. I have to like hold it in my fucking whole hand because it's like it's gonna snap otherwise. Okay, I'm starting to get in there. Still got some of that sheen from the shade paints though, which I don't hate. Okay. All right. No, it's all good. I'm just chilling. So like most of the combat patrol for me is like done right now. Like I'm literally just in the stage where I'm like dry brushing and like adding the finer details on things. Um, it's a little yeah, it's a little just like the dry brushing. It's literally just like the edge highlighting. I just like most of this time has just been spent shading the Death Dread because like I still need to put shade paint on that. But I would definitely say like my most favorite model so far has gotta be the War Boss in Mega Armor. Like I'm just really happy with the paint job that I got out for him. Like he's big, he's got the hammer, he's got like I at the start I wasn't like a huge fan of like how boxy his armor was, but then I learned to love it. Like now that it's like fully done and I can see it in its entirety, I'm like, yeah, that's I love this guy. I love Warboss Wreck Havoc. And the internet loves him too. Yeah, I really just love getting in there with a dry brush and just like raising them edges. But like I also wanna make that I don't like get anything that I don't want to be the right color. Like right now I'm just doing a bit of a dry brush with a Xandri dust. Just absolutely making the model flimsy around. You gotta trust the process. That's all it is. Like, all you need is like 20 minutes, and all you need is 20 minutes and to let the paint dry, and then you're good. Like every bad thing you've ever said about the model is like suddenly gone. It's like, oh, I'm actually based. And let me just re-up my brush here. brushing it off screen. Just getting all the wet stuff off. That's why we call it dry brushing. Oh, fuck. It's all about trusting the process. Fuck. There we go. Okay. All right. I think that's most of the dry brushing done there. Okay, now I need to move on to some of the other models. Did I dry brush this one already? No, I don't think I did. I just think it's dusty. Like, I really like to go over just like pretty much just like a whole thing with a dry Xandri dust brush. Because like it definitely like adds some extra detailing onto both the browns and the yellows that I have. Like it's very versatile. Even though it's not a dry paint specifically, which I think is funny. Let me just make sure that I'm holding that right. Okay. Oh god, I'm mostly just getting my hand. What the fuck am I doing? See, it's tough because I have to like keep a firm grip on it. Otherwise, like the base is just so flimsy that it's gonna fucking explode if I don't. Really just dusting it. Just dusting off the yellow bits. Okay. Okay. God, I've been at this for 2 hours, baby. Jesus. Like, I normally don't spend this long painting stuff. Like, normally I'm taking, like, breaks every 30 minutes and everything like that. I simply am incapable of sitting down and doing a thing for an elongated period of time. Let's fucking get in there. There we go. Nice edge highlighting. Sometimes I just like to dry brush in there without going through an edge highlighting. Just like... Sometimes I think the dry brushing is just like, you can just do that yourself, you know? Yeah, like, it's not an orc color scheme specifically. Like, I kind of based it off of the orcs from the Space Marine video game. Because that was my first exposure to the orcs. That's sort of what I think of when I think of orcs. So like, you know, they had very like dusty brown leather color schemes and everything like that. So, you know, I painted all my boys with the same sort of like dusty brown. But then when it came to the like the vehicles and everything, I'm like, I need a bit more definition here. Like I need to sort of elevate these a little bit. So that's where the sort of like yellow, so the yellow accents and highlights came in. Because I know there is like an orc clan that's like just pure yellow. I think that's like the evil suns or like the bad moons or something. Some weird orc made up name. But yeah, those are like yellow. Like you would almost be better off like base painting the vehicle's wraithbone. Like they're so yellow. Okay. Alright. Okay, let's see. What have I got there? Alright. Now I'm getting a little bit cross-eyed looking at these now. Okay. Alright, I've been painting for about 2 hours now. I think I'm gonna take a break for a little bit. Cause first of all, I need to eat food. That's a big thing for me right now. And second of all, I think my internet's shit. Or it keeps like going really bad quality on my end. So maybe that's a good enough time to take a break. So I'm probably gonna call it here for now. Gonna eat something, gonna play some video games probably, and I'm gonna come back and get back onto the rest of this. Because yes, again, I want to get this done by Sunday, essentially. So I'm gonna put a bit more time to it then. But for now, I'm gonna take a bit of a break. So thank you so much for watching. You know, like and subscribe and all that. But in the meantime, have a wonderful Good Friday, and see you next time I decide to paint things. And take care, gang. I need food. I'm starving. I've been sitting down so long, I'm like, I've just forgotten about all my bodily functions. They're all catching up to me at once. I'm so full of piss.